2, 1. Machankura!
Welcoming the founder of Bitcoin Dada, to the stage.
Yeah, man like quakes. Yeah, she got her own keys. 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 Yo, where my Bitcoin Dada's at? 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 She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got that new Jade wallet from Blockstream. Takes a Bitcoin off exchanges under self-custody.
Yeah, so my name is Atieno Marcel. As you have heard, I am the founder of Bitcoin Dada. So today we are doing something amazing, which is launching Machankura. And maybe just a small tribute, is it a tribute to Kogatso? Kogatso was one of the first people who actually believed in Bitcoin Dada when we were starting off. And he gave us our first sponsorship for our graduation. So for that, we will be forever grateful. What else? So Machankura, should I say no? Because Nolin is coming on board, so will not speak about what Machankura is. So mine is just to welcome you to this amazing event. Please keep the energy. Let's have fun. Let's learn. Let's connect. Let's network. We have different nationalities here. We have Namibia, South Africa, TZ, Uganda. Where's the shouters? But if I mention your name, Uganda. Tanzania. Oh yeah. Namibia. South Africa. Sarah, you're lying. Anyway, and Kenyans. Love you. And Jamaica. Sorry. Americans. Cameroon. Wow. Bitcoin Dada, support him or Uganda.
So we want to actually know what Machankura is. And I love it because in a space where women are finally doing it in the space, we get to start the events, and we get to start it from a lady. The beautiful, the amazing, Nolin here today.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us. Those who've joined us from different countries, thank you so much. Those are from Kenya. Thank you. So as I've been introduced, my name is Nolin Sumba. It's been a long year. I'm glad to see very many familiar faces. Hi. Yeah, so my name is Malin Tumba. I am the representative of Machankura, Kenya, and it's been an interesting year since we began Machankura, and I am excited to have you all join us for the launch. And thank you, Bitcoin Dada, for hosting us. When it started a year ago, Bitcoin Dada also, it has been an incredible journey, to say the least. And yeah, I think mine will just be the serious stuff, but I'll try and make it as short as possible so that you don't get bored. And yes, let's start. So here I have with me, this is a map called the Catalan Atlas. So I will take you through maybe the journey with Bitcoin and how we ended up with, I ended up in Machankura, or how Machankura ended up. So this is the Catalan Atlas. This was a map from the 1375, and it was a map of the Mali Empire in the 14th century. And why I found this map very interesting was because of the story behind it. So this guy here is Mansa Musa, and Mansa Musa at the time was considered the richest man in the world. And why? Because the Mali Empire contained lots of gold. And I can say that was what you can say the glory days of Africa back then. So why Mansa Musa was interesting when it's a story that said as he was conducting his pilgrimage from Mali, he was a Muslim, from Mali heading all the way to Mecca, he passed through Egypt, and he used to move around with gold bars, and with that he will distribute the gold bars to the Egyptians. And with that, he distributed gold that led to inflation, and actually, there was a destabilization of the Egyptian empire at the time. And so, that's the earliest depiction I have of the money printer going through. And what I will, if that's a common term, if you're not a Bitcoiner, I will explain it. We live in a world where money has been inflating throughout history, since 1375, as you have been saying. It's not a new concept. And this inflation of money always leads to, creation of new money, where if you devalue a currency, we're bound to have new currency coming in to replace. Because humanity has a tendency to go for the harder money. Since then, so this is a graph from a company called MicroStrategy. And as you can see, Bitcoin is leading. That is, even if we invested in stocks, gold, bonds, Bitcoin still ended up performing the best. This was as of 2020, the graph. And as I've mentioned, when currency is devalued, humanity tends to go for the harder currency. That's why we moved from silver to gold to, and now, okay, moving from gold to, and now Bitcoin. Yes, maybe the next slide. So here I have, once you have the devaluation of the currency, what I have here is the property index, the worldwide property index. With the devaluation of currency, we have economies destabilizing, as I mentioned, and here we have a list of countries that have the worst property rights in the world. And as you can see, obviously, African countries are the most represented. Countries like Venezuela, inflation rate to 200%. I don't know, Argentina is missing from my list, that's a surprise, but yeah. So, with the devaluation of currency, crime rate goes high. I woke up this morning and it's at 143. This is a graph that most people have been seeing, but I will try and explain it to you in simpler terms. When this happens, what is happening is your currency is actually devaluing, meaning you are told that you end up selling your resources to abroad in, basically your exports become cheaper or your labor becomes cheaper. So, but in real sense, what is happening, this is a graph of theft, because inflation in real terms is just theft. Because you moved from a point where, when you used to have gold, for example, in the US, there was something called an Executive Order 6102 that led to the confiscation of property, wealth, that is gold, you are required to submit your gold to the government. And right now we've just moved to a sophisticated way of theft, meaning that the government will not come to you and tell you, you have gold and we want your gold, so give us your gold. What they will do is through this, they will inflate your money, so you will work harder for more money. And that's why your bread will become expensive. As I said, this graph, I took this screenshot yesterday night. By today morning I was waking up and you're at 12:53. Be the next slide. And that is when you save it in a currency like Bitcoin. So as you can see, your local currency ends up increasing in value over time. So the more they print, the more your Bitcoin, the more the value of Bitcoin increases in your local currency. Because as you all know, Bitcoin, maybe if you don't know, Bitcoin has a hard cap of 21 million. So this is digital scarcity that has been created. So, and another thing maybe I'd like to put to your attention is this graph. This was created by a very good friend called Alex Kleinstein. And you've all heard of the IMF and the World Bank, and you know what they do in countries in the global south, Africa included, where they tell you that they're giving you foreign aid. And that is just another way, as I have mentioned. Just like Mansa Musa did in 1375 in Egypt, same thing being done. So they're pumping money into the system, meaning your currency is devaluing. Next slide, please. And they will give it different names. So the current name is, I have them in question marks, it's the Extended Credit Facility. But you've probably had the Structural Adjustment Program, and it's so funny. You go to their website, and this is a screenshot from their website. They call it Economic Policies for Developing Countries by International Monetary Fund for providing financial assistance. What this basically means is they will come, give you money, devalue your currency, and that way we end up as Africans selling our resources at a throwaway price in the open market. So it's cheaper for them to get labor and resources from Africa, and that is why we have countries like Niger. As you all know, maybe, if you don't know, there's a current undergoing coup in Niger. And Niger, sorry, I was corrected by blood. Thank you. And the reason for this is there are 14 countries currently that are under the CFA franc, meaning even though you're Africans, you are not using your own currency. Your currency is pegged to the French, yes. Yeah, to the euro in French, imagine that. And we're supposed to be sovereign. Next slide, please. And the structural adjustment programs, and you saw I was asking when does it stop? It doesn't stop. A country like Ghana is experiencing its 17th bailout from IMF. So, and for Kenya, in fact, currently our current expenditure is just, we need the loan so that we can pay salaries to civil servants basically each and every month. So we have noticed since the government took over in September, each and every month have been receiving money just to cater for their current expenditure. There's no development projects undergoing. You wonder? Maybe next slide. So, and for the structural adjustment programs, you'll be told that they're beneficial to you, that we're required to do this. I'd like to put to your attention, so SAPs in Kenya have been linked to the increasing deviant and crime rates, ethnic hatred and discrimination, and welfare problems since it was published in 1986 and introduced 5 years earlier to help the economy recover from the difficulties it was facing then. So I live in Kilifi, and unfortunately I was, my previous job, I got to encounter some of the results of this structural economic adjustment program that was carried out in Kenya in the 1990s, where we had the cashew industry being destroyed. So I was dealing with people who are in their 60s, 70s, coming to get documentation so that they can be able to receive their pensions or their compensation 20 years later. And what you're not told is currently the adjustment program is in the form of the Finance Act that comes with terms that you're supposed to, just say, the government is taking care of stuff. But they also come with terms in which they determine which sectors will receive what income. And with that, they end up also destroying some companies, like how the cashew industry was destroyed. I asked myself, in whose hands basically are My name is Lynn, I said, and the same question you can ask yourself. How do you shelter yourself from all of this? How do you shelter yourself from your currency being devalued? How do you shelter yourself from your time being stolen? Because if somebody devalues the currency, they're basically stealing your time. You are working hard to make money, and this money is basically being devalued. So, next slide. So, this was from a tweet. How will we reach hyper-Bitcoinization when 99% of the world does not understand the problems of the traditional financial system? I have a background in finance, that's why I can be able to maybe comprehend all of this, and maybe some people look for this information and that's how they find out. But not everybody really pays attention or understands how the financial system works, and it's because it's been designed for you not to understand how stocks work, how investing works. Most people do not have a clue how investing in government bonds work. And that's just how it's meant to be, for you to not understand so that you can be stuck in this cycle of doom. So right now, whether people have internet or not, or do not have a smartphone, Machankura provides the USSD platform where you can be able to transact currently USSD. Okay, my presentation was rendered obsolete just the other day because we had lost our USSD in 2 countries, but they will be back. So we are going to be having USSD live in 9 countries, and fantastic. And also, if you're passionate about orange peeling, as I said, it's going to be an exciting time. I welcome you to join us at Machankura. As an orange peeler, we can be able to set you up, and all you have to do is just send a link to someone and they can be able to sign up and transact in all of the ways I've mentioned. And I am looking forward to also having Africa being freed from the shackles of the central banking. And yeah.
We have Machankura in Uganda, and we would love to hear from them. This is a man coming up. 5 minutes. Huh? Well, yes, I'm giving you 5 minutes. We have Jeff Mukiza from, have I said your name right? From Uganda, here to give us the experience of Machankura.
So, thankfully, Nolina has talked about Machankura, but my presentation is about how to make the world a better place for again stocks using Bitcoin. I came into the Bitcoin rabbit hole like 3-4 years ago. It was quite interesting, and I found out a way that can make the world a better place by just using Bitcoin. Studying it, using it from day to day, telling your friends about it, and that's why I'm here today. So I did before you on Twitter. And so yesterday I went to a place called the Brilliance. It's a very interesting concept, how they provide electricity to the community around them. That's number one. And I think it's very interesting of how to make the world a better place with Bitcoin. That's coming along pretty great, I would say. The figure is coming up now. Gorilla Strikes, Bitcoin Compile as well. The same people, but don't worry. We'll employ more people. And I think last year, we had an exciting project in Uganda. There's this orphanage that received Bitcoin as donations, and we're a bit skeptical about it, but then this year we made the trip to the orphanage. And when we got there, I was actually like touched. I didn't finish the story, but I left my heart in the orphanage. And I would like to encourage everyone of us to just study Bitcoin the way you want to. Take your time, it's a very deep rabbit hole. If you can engage in your daily life, please do.
So I'm going to start with her. We have the moderator of this panel, that is going to be Marcel Atieno. And Makofi too. Mr. panel is exciting because these are all our friends, all Bitcoin Dadas. Because these are the people you should shout for, because all of these guys who are coming to this panel are our friends. So let's start from the hype man, all the way from Uganda. Please help us in welcoming Brindo! If you are around and you saw the debates between shitcoins and Bitcoin, you know this is a god amongst us, okay? Thank you. Then the next person, this one is our friend. And he found out our nickname. So, he is a Bitcoin nomad and a Bitcoin lover, and he's white in color. So, he's our vanilla in this panel. Kindly help me in welcoming Jason. That's what we can joke with him. Okay, last but not least, he's silent, he's a great teacher, he has good energy. In fact, he's just part of Bitcoin Dada. And he's all the way from, I was about to say the wrong country, all the way from Cameroon. Please help us in welcoming Blood.
She got her own keys. 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 Where my Bitcoin
Right. So thank you again for agreeing to be part of this panel. You're basically family to Bitcoin Dada, and for that I'm grateful. So the first thing is I'm going to ask one of you, probably Brenda.
Let me hear someone say, Machankura! Machankura! Okay. So, Lightning is basically the simpler way to move the hard money that we talked about. But how it works is, ideally Bitcoin is when you're sure that your money will reach, but you need to wait a bit. Then Lightning is when you're sure your money will reach, but it reaches before you think about it. Lightning takes advantage of a few things. The first one is, if I'm connected to Jason and Marcel wants to send money to Jason, Marcel doesn't have to connect to Jason, right? All Marcel has to do is give me money, I'll put it in this pocket, which is on her side, and I'll pick money from this pocket and give it to Jason. In between a previous connection, they have to make sure everything is right. And when the transaction is added, it's added in stone, right? It's the same for Lightning. It's different that now Marcel does not have to look for Jason, because Jason is my neighbor, I've been talking, I've been sending him Bitcoin, he's been sending me. So we're already connected. But on the other hand, I've also been talking to Marcel. We've been exchanging money. So for as long as I have enough money, if Marcel wants to send 10 Kenyan shillings, for as long as I have enough 10 Kenyan shillings in my left pocket, she can send 10 Kenyan shillings to my right pocket, which is my balance on her side. I will pick from my balance, which is in my left pocket. Money has not crossed, right? So I pay on her behalf. But before the transaction is authorized, I have to have the balance. So that's why it's instant. It's like literally me paying instantly the money I receive from Marcel. So now scale that. If I'm connected to Jason, I'm connected to Vlad, I'm connected to Momo, then essentially the whole room is connected, because Momo is connected to someone else. That's why the payment is like. And now when you use it over Machankura, you don't even feel it. Because you literally, by the time the USSD is done requesting, the person is like, hello? Yeah, I've received, thank you. That's Lightning for you.
Yeah, so just on that, before I go to the next one, I would like to ask Jason, why Lightning Network? How did it come about?
Well, Lightning came about because Bitcoin has a limited amount of space, and they're called UTXOs. So every transaction on the blockchain gets stored in the UTXO, and every time it moves, there are new UTXOs created. And that happens every 10 minutes. A new UTXO is created every time there's a transaction created. And waiting 10 minutes if you're going to a coffee store or going to buy food or whatever takes too long. You want to get in, give your money, get out. And so Lightning came about as a way to Lightning came about as a way to have instant transactions where you don't have to wait the 10 minutes. And the way they do it, like you explained, is that there's a global network of nodes around the world that all have liquidity, basically money locked up. And at any point, anyone can take from one balance and move to another balance instantly and frictionless and for basically no fee. So very, very low fee, global instant payments all around the world.
Okay. Would you give us like a comparison based with the traditional banking or payment gateways that we have?
Sure.
In terms of speed as well.
Right. So I think the most global system we have today is basically Visa and MasterCard, where you can do digital transactions basically instantly. But the problem with that is that there's a settlement layer underneath where Visa is basically fronting you the money and saying, yes, you're good for it, I will authorize that transaction. With Lightning, it's instant and you get the final value. You get the base asset Bitcoin. So you don't have to wait for someone else to say, yes, I'll pay you. It's instant, it's the final asset at the end of the day.
Is it cheap, affordable, free?
All the above.
Close to zero. Amazing. There are specific transactions that should be done on layer 1 and others on layer 2.
I would say the way Lightning works right now, small transactions are good for Lightning. I wouldn't advise you to move like $10,000 on Lightning. I mean, there are a couple of big channels that can do that, but I wouldn't advise you to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. So we not talked about people having, even Vlad has touched on that, guys having need to have liquidity for that to actually work. So considering all Bitcoiners, Bitcoin maxes, even the toxic ones, are all about non-custodial, self-custody, etc. So my question to you, Brindle, would be like, what are some of the security measures when it comes to safety of funds of individuals, right? If I have to depend on you as a node runner or whatever.
So two things. I'll try to summarize it in two things. The first is Bitcoin is a responsibility technology. So the first solution I'll give you is, if you're not going to transact the money, don't leave it on the wallet. Put it in self-custody, keep it. Essentially, if you're not using money in your wallet and you're going to the playground, you don't leave it in your wallet and throw the wallet anywhere, right? Yeah. So the first responsibility is yours. But if you really, really want to leave it because you're going to make the payment tomorrow, what strategies am I taking as a node runner, as a liquidity provider? If Marcel leaves her money on the wallet and it's hosted on my platform, the first thing I want to do is be public about the information which Bitcoin Lightning already provides for. So all the information about Lightning nodes can be public or not. So for the most custodial wallets that we'll have, including Machankura, you can go and audit how much is in their Lightning balance. Me and you, same internet connection, right? So the other would be, as a node runner, which I'm not, Okin is a node runner, mine is on voltage. So, so I'm essentially half a node runner. The other would be, make sure as you settle these transactions, you keep the maximum balance that you're not using off of the Lightning layer. Because if you leave a lot of liquidity there, it could as well be tied up in transactions, right? And you find you have sent out a lot, but you can't receive because you do not have on your end. So there's a lot of technical Lightning Okin things that you can do. But essentially, as an individual who is using Lightning, two things for you. The first, Bitcoin is responsibility because you don't leave money lying around. So if Lightning is your spending wallet, when you're done spending, move the money on chain or keep it in a self-custody wallet. If you're not to do that immediately, if you're moving money through Machankura, when you're done, put it in a non-custodial wallet. There's a lot of them. There's Phoenix, there's Breeze. You have a lot of options as a Bitcoiner, really. You just have to reach out to myself for more info.
I also ran a node, quote unquote, half like him. And I didn't know that bit that I have to like keep a balance, right? So I have like $10,000 worth of, and I can't move anything, I can't move any shit. So it forced me to actually sit down and actually try to understand what I'm doing and be Okin. And when I say Okin is bad guy. Okin is bad guy. So yeah, so thank you for that bring up. So over to our friend. So the question would be like, are there any exciting developments or projects currently being built on top of the Lightning Network that you know of?
Lightning is kind of becoming the backbone where so many other platforms can be built upon it, like Fedi, for example, which is similar to Machankura's clans and things like that. Because it's a networking protocol, you can send anything over it. So you can send chat messages. There's a new protocol called Nostr where you can send one or two.
Yeah, I think you should repeat that bit about Nostr. I don't think a lot of people, especially in the crypto space, I know we have guys in the crypto space, you should come over to Nostr.
Yeah, the great thing about Nostr is it's just like Twitter for now, but it's going to be bigger and better than Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. And when you post something on Twitter, you might get a like. Big deal, okay? On Nostr, you post something, if anyone likes it, anyone in the world that sees it, they can send you zaps instantly. And it's called zapping. So you can zap zaps for anyone around the world. And so you can make money by being on social media and posting content that people like.
I think now we move to Bitcoin adoption, especially in Africa. One of the things that I've seen, especially online, is people arguing like, what are the use cases that help Africans, right, in terms of Bitcoin? So, over to you. No, Vlad, sorry. Real life, things that you and I can actually do.
I would say, I mostly work online. I've worked online for as long as I can remember. I can remember when I was still working as a front-end engineer. So I was working for like a US company. And they would pay my salary, and it would take like 4 days for it to reflect in my Cameroonian account. But if you're working today remotely, or even if you're conversing with people all over the world, you can get your money instantly over Lightning, or it could be Bitcoin if you're ready to wait for the confirmation time. So, that's one of the ways I think it can be very helpful for Africa. Another thing that I think would be a good use case for the continent is that suddenly capital can flow in is without any barrier into the continent. So it's something that many people are still trying to figure out. Like I was one day speaking to a founder in Nairobi. Yeah, of course. And he was telling me, so he's trying to figure out a way for people with capital overseas to fund local companies in Nairobi. And I think that's a killer idea in the sense that you can suddenly get capital from where you couldn't get before without the kind of hassle that you need to go through to get capital from an institution like a bank.
Oh, yeah. Happy Machankura, Biko Toda Machankura, yeah. Happy Machankura.
This one, I have one more question for you, but it's not going to be the Kenya part. I just need somebody from Kenya. Mumo, would you like to speak on Kenya?
Thank you. I think one of the peculiarities of Kenya is we are very curious. So anything to do with cryptocurrency, Kenyans are usually among the first. So I am happy when other coins show up because that will continue driving them away.
Okay, 1 minute.
Hello everybody, I'm Oken. Namibia. Bitcoin adoption in Namibia is really slow, but the reasoning behind it is our youth is unemployed. We have one of the highest youth unemployment rates in Africa, and we only have 2.7 million people. So for us, it's a thing of how do you earn. So Bitcoin allows you to be able to get an income without spending any money. You can play TV, you can play games on your phone, you can write articles, you can read articles. These things allow you then just to have to go find some place that will accept the Bitcoin that you already have. So I use the example of the fact that I walk, I read, do all these things to gain enough Bitcoin in a week that it's roughly 50 Namibian dollars or 50 Rand. This can buy me either airtime and data for a whole week where I don't have to go and buy anything else, or it can buy me 3 loaves of bread and a 2 liter of milk, or it can buy me beer. So I now have the choice, do I go chill with my friends with what I've earned in Bitcoin and go spend it? Or do I go buy food for the house, which I couldn't do before? So now you can have kids that are sitting at home playing games, solitaire. They are earning enough money to buy bread for the house. That in a country that has higher employment changes things. So I'll stop there, but that's an easy one from Nairobi.
Right, awesome.
Man like who? Man like who? So, I'm from Tanzania, man like Quakes. So Tanzania is similarly, 50% of our population is around, the average age is 18. You know, similar thing, we have young people, it's a young nation. So, and my reason for joining Bitcoin is the cross-border payments have just changed my life so much. I have family in the UK, sending money out of Tanzania is very, very difficult. Receiving it in is easier. So again, it just connects me or Tanzanians to the world. Our barrier is the language in regards to we're mainly a Kiswahili country. As you can tell from me, I don't speak a lot of it. but yeah, so I'm here to just try and work with the other educators here to get more Kiswahili Bitcoin education there, so more people in Tanzania can be more aware of it. But yeah, we've got similar problems, but I believe Bitcoin can solve those.
Awesome. The first Tanzanian with an actually English accent. Am I lying? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Have we stayed in country? Nigeria in the house. The lady. Oh, Obina. Obina Bana. You're young. Also, I've noticed we have a lot of movement. Is it the cold? Is it cold? So do we get the warmers inside? You're working on it. Okay, please, let's prevent that moving up and down. It's kind of distracting.
Hi, everyone. Unlike every other African countries, ours is different. Adoption came in for Nigeria. Like for me, I got Bitcoin in 2009 or 2010. So our situation has been terrible for long. When most African countries have mobile money, we don't. When most countries use paper, we don't. When most countries use MasterCard, Visa card, we have to rely on Valve, you know. So when we had that Bitcoin, it was easy. Paxful came into Nigeria, and there was this easy transaction using Apple Pay, Apple gift card, then Amazon gift card. So it was easy for most Nigerians to exchange the gift card, because when your brother in Europe or America send you money, like Western Union, by the way, we can't even use Western Union in Nigeria. So when they send you money, the bank asks to control your money, meaning you're not getting dollar, you're getting naira. And they tell you the amount they are going to give you in naira. So with the advent of Bitcoin, it eliminates all that, and that was why the government will be like, oh, these guys are going to take over the market.
The world hates Africa, right, from a financial perspective. Well, it doesn't hate Africa, let me not lie. The world loves Africa, but it has to do certain things. If you heard about the CFA, right, the CFA is Africa's biggest stable coin, right? I don't care what Tether's doing, I don't care what USDC is doing. The CFA is Africa's biggest stable coin, right? And the CFA is the reason why I don't have a problem with Bitcoin's volatility, right? Because countries that use the CFA have relatively had a stable purchasing power versus countries like Kenya, where the Kenya shilling has been depreciating over the past few years. Countries like Uganda, where the Uganda shilling has been depreciating over the past few years, right? But from a development perspective, you have to ask, why is Cameroon not outpacing a Nigeria in terms of economic development if Cameroon has a more stable currency than a Nigeria, right? So, yeah, the Nigerians at least can find a way to move that money, right? Gift cards, and well, the money in this case is value, right? So, to not talk too much, effectively, the answer is creating value. The answer is not getting money, right? If you can create value, move value from one place to the next without somebody saying, because you are a South African, because you're a Nigerian, you do not deserve to get 100% of that value, right? And some people would even say, do not even use a currency that requires you to identify yourself, right? That requires you to scan an eyeball, and that associates that eyeball with the fact that you are born in a specific country, or you scanned that eyeball from a specific country. Because when the day comes for them to say, oh, since people in this country shouldn't have the ability to use 100% of X currency, they will do that, right? Yeah, so that's pretty much my synopsis.
Woo. Amazing. Okay.
All right. That's my brother from Namibia. Yeah. Said, I think, as we have met here today, I'm so happy to see African youth coming together like this at this moment. I think it is a time for economic freedom in Africa. The way I see things, Bitcoin has come to set us free. Because unlike in my country, Ghana, it's easy to receive money from abroad, but difficult to send out the country. So I think we should give thanks to God for having this opportunity.
Oh yeah! Yeah! Awesome. Bitcoin is hope for Africa, right? So, Jason, last question. Why Bitcoin? Why Bitcoin endorse anything?
Well, as you've heard from everyone that's been speaking, someone else controls our money. That's not fair. We can control our money. We don't need them to tell us how to live our lives, how to use our money. So with Bitcoin, you choose the rules of your money. You don't rely on anyone else to devalue it, to tax you from it, or to take it from you and steal it from you. It's yours. You do what you want with it.
If you didn't clap for that, you should join Bitcoin Dada, whether you're male or female. Anyway, so thank you for that. Just to go around the table, introduce yourself, tell us what you do. If you'd want them to follow yourself, Twitter handle.
Yeah, Brendan Moine is my name. I identify as a gorilla. We'll decide. I come from Gorilla Land, Uganda, and we run a company called Gorilla Sats. Shout out to my team, please stand up. And essentially what we do with Gorilla Sats is a lot, because there's a few. If you can cross to Uganda and you have Bitcoin ideas, please come. We are trying to get the ecosystem started. As per now, we have a Bitcoin store where you can purchase things Africa-wide. And we're trying to get merchants on there, so you'll be a merchant who can sell in Bitcoin only, no altcoins. You'll be able to sell and buy merchandise, books, everything Bitcoin on that platform. We have something coming up, you'll see it when it comes. but I'm glad to be here. The relationship we have with Bitcoin Dada is unbreakable. I tell you, every time there's an event, I'm on a bus. No doubt. So I'm always happy to be here, but most importantly, I'd love to appreciate you myself.
Thank you.
Because it's one thing to always come and have these events, but when you create an Africa Bitcoin meetup by the countries we have here, cheers.
I mean, that's why we need the females in this space.
Yeah.
Right?
Bring us together.
The matcha.
So yeah, my name is Jason. I've been a world traveler for the last 14 years, traveling to every continent, 130 some odd countries. And Bitcoin is a currency that works everywhere. So I'm in love with it, and I love with everything Marcel's been doing, and everyone else it's working, and we're all on the same team. Let's go, Bitcoin.
Jason is low-key one of our board of directors. Low-key. Not contract side.
So I'm Vlad. Vlad like Vladimir Putin.
Thank you for your service.
So I'm a Bitcoin developer. I mostly work on Bitcoin open source software. So at times it would be Bitcoin Dev Kit, which is basically a library for like building Bitcoin wallets. At times these days it's also the Lightning Dev Kit, which is also a library for like building Lightning software. So apart from that, we run a community here in Nairobi called the BitDev, which is essentially a community of developers where we convene like once every month to talk about like all the recent happenings, like technical developments in the community.
We have a question from the audience. Before I just say,
where does this Lightning network fall under? Because is it that this white paper wasn't able to anticipate these microtransactions, that you have to do it on an entire layer to then settle back with Bitcoin? So I don't know, maybe I'm a bit confused, but could you please clarify that for me? Thank you.
So that's actually a very good question. So when Satoshi released the white paper on the Bitcoin, on the cryptography mailing list at the time, so the first comment that he got from like one of the technical people on the mailing list is that this thing doesn't scale. Essentially, this thing cannot make transactions for the whole world. That was the first comment he got. So on the paper itself, there's no specification as to how the network can scale.
absolutely, and that is something that I really love about Bitcoin. It's open source, right? So if you find a problem with Bitcoin, and like you said, if you have the technical knowledge, you can actually provide a solution. And the good thing about that, it means it's not centralized, it's not controlled by people. Let's say, for example, M-Pesa. So if you want to know more about us and you're a female and you want to actually start educating yourself on Bitcoin, feel free. Do we still have the applications ongoing? We do. So you can go to our website, btcdada.com, and apply for the 5th cohort. So that's it. Thank you for coming. This is the Machankura launch in Kenya. The Machankura what? Can we all scream Machankura? Wait. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, right? 3, 2, 1. Machankura! Again, 3, 2, 1. Machankura! Awesome. Thank you so much.
We're going to have a bit of jazz music from Jimmy Sachs. Okay, he's going to play Afro. Yeah, he's going to play something. So the rest of you, you know what to do. Those who came late, watch and learn. I know.
I
discussion, and if you missed this guy, he is the reason as to why we are here. He is the brains that created this in 2 weeks. That's what I heard, yeah? Please, you can all stand up and help me in welcoming this man, the founder of Machankura.
Ladies, challenges are TikTok to Atebana. Let's have great challenges, right? So yeah, so over to you guys.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see you all here, and thank you for joining us for this fireside chat with the great KG from Machankura and myself, Open from Easy Sets.
Hello.
It's good to see you, my brother.
Yeah, no, same here.
In person. Okay. So I guess we'll start at how we came about this. It wasn't really a challenge. I come from a country where a lot of people live in the village. A lot of people live on farms, right? Of the 2.7 million people in Namibia, only 300,000 live in the capital. Okay? The rest are dispersed throughout it's a big country, so that they're everywhere. I grew up on farms, so I know how there's no internet access on farms, right? And my thing was, if we want to push Bitcoin, really push it for the Africans that need it, most of them don't have cell phones. So I just put up a tweet and I was like, hey, I know one of you are smarter, like there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there smarter than me, and you guys can do this. So somebody put a Bitcoin wallet on a feature phone, and I put up the picture of the feature phone. KG wrote me one simple tweet saying, give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I actually forgot that he said to give me 2 weeks then. 2 weeks later, I got another tweet. Hey, Oken, remember that thing you spoke about? His name is Machankura, and it's in 8 countries right now. And then we started up. Six from that time, and then we went from there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the story, right, in a nutshell. But the other version of that is I had set up a node, Raspberry Pi. You had heard Brandon talking about running a node on voltage, or being a node runner, and my question to myself was, okay, I am running this node and I know a lot of other people cannot run this node, so how am I gonna, give them access to that node? And at the end of the day, everyone else I know has a feature phone. Even people who have smartphones, by the way, because this is your dependable battery lasts even if you are out in nowhere basically, and you just charge it once for the whole week. So a lot of people have feature phones, and yeah. So I had some history with USSD. I built a few things for USSD, and then I discovered Africa's Talking, Kenya-based company. Right? So shout out to all the fintechs in Kenya, all the technology companies in Kenya. You guys are doing magnificent work, and special shout out to Africa's Talking. I don't know if they're in the house. Don't think they were able to make it, right? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Talking, right? And yeah, so they were the reason why it was in 2 weeks, because I just hooked up to their API, deployed to all the countries that they supported and that I could understand. They supported French-speaking countries, but at the time, now they don't anymore, but at the time I only went for the English-speaking ones first because I could test. And then what happened? The name, Machankura, right? So you heard the song that was playing just now, right? That song is the reason why this is called Machankura. Right? And I would have called it Chankura without the ma part, but then the guy's chorus is just too good. Api Machankura. And then I was like, okay, now that's definitely where we're going with this. And yeah, I think I bought the Chankura domain. Maybe one day I'll release it for some other things. But yeah, Machankura then became the official name. And I had to change the database name, the code base name, and everything, right? But then, yeah, it's a catchy name, so I like it, keeping it. And then the story behind 833 and that .mobi 833 is if you're running a node, and I wanted us to not talk technically, right?
I mean, we can just touch on some of it.
So if you're running a Bitcoin node, the port that runs on your machine is 833. Right? So the whole idea of the project is really a port for you to access Bitcoin. Right? The company name is called Port 8333. Right? If you go to the Machankura website, you'll see that at the bottom. Right? So .mobi, of course, is the top level domain. Right? If you in South Africa, they use. The Namibian understands because Namibia and SA are pretty much the same country.
We're brothers and sisters. We're not the same. Don't tell people that.
Okay. Then late night TV, there was all these adult content that had Mobi adverts, right? So I wanted the .mobi one because I was like, if you're going to do anything for the mobile device, you're going to have to need to use that .mobi. And I was like, 833.mobi is still available because it doesn't seem like the rest of the world uses the .mobi anymore. And then I took it, and that is the official Machankura website. We still have machankura.com, but 833 is 4 digits, and regardless of whatever language you use, you can understand that, unless you put too many threes or too little threes after you hear the word 833. Doesn't matter, it still works.
Okay, just before you go on, let me ask you a question. What does Machankura mean, for those that are uninitiated?
Yeah, so Machankura is a slang term for money. Right. Yeah, and yeah, that's another goal of the project. People need to understand that you can use Bitcoin as money, not just as an investment, not just as an asset. And we have money problems across the African continent, as people were talking about in different countries as different things. It's either you cannot use a Western Union in Nigeria, it's either you're in Tanzania, you can get money in, but it's very hard to get money out. It's either you're in Cameroon and you're working remotely, and whenever you receive money, you have to tell them what that money is for, give them all these details, and that adds a delay to how the money comes in. So with Bitcoin, negates all of that. And yeah, Bitcoin can be yet another form of money.
Correct. So I just want to, I'm not really here to ask KG questions, we are going to have a conversation, but just for the beginning point, would you mind telling people why the Machankura logo looks the way it does?
Yeah, cool. Actually, let's ask the people.
Oh wait, yeah.
Anyone who is not a Bitcoin.
Not a Bitcoin Dada.
So
from the Gorilla Sense.
I should not know you, right? So exactly what the logo is, right? But the outline for it is B, is a Bitcoin B as well, right? So it can be seen in both ways. But also the outline looks like a phone booth, like the old phone booths that you would put coins into it, right? And yeah, I made that logo myself, right? And yeah, it gave me another purpose, right? Because at the time I was like, how do we actually get Bitcoin spreading across the African continent when the internet penetration levels are so low, right? And that old phone symbol was like telling me, we still have that technology, right? Almost everyone across the African continent has a cell phone, right? That is part of the reason why mobile money is as big as it is in Kenya, right? Almost everyone has a mobile phone. So if you implement something that would work for this, you can actually get Bitcoin in the hands of almost anyone who wants it, right? So yeah, that is what's behind the logo, and yeah, I designed it myself. And fun fact, I didn't even use Photoshop. I use a program, JavaScript too.
Seriously?
Yes.
You coded the logo?
I coded the logo, right? So I put the code on Twitter. No one noticed it. Right? So the thing I knew is that it starts here, it has a point here, it goes up by 20 pixels, it moves here, blah blah. So that's
Can we please give this man a hand of applause for coding the logo?
The DJ's killing it.
The DJ's out here. The DJ's really killing it. Thank you, Mr. DJ. For those that haven't said it yet, thank you for being here. Thank you to the musicians, everybody that is here taking photos. Thank you for being here and making it what it is today.
Oh, yeah.
But let's start that conversation. Oh, what are you trying to say?
there's a story I haven't told. I don't know if we should get into those or should we continue that.
I mean, we're having a conversation. Let's have the conversation.
Right, so the story I haven't told. Right? So to those who don't know, Machankura has been a one-man team for a long time. Right? That is part of the reason why I also made the logo. There was no one else to make the logo. Right? And yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with other people. Noblin was here. Guantai, is he still here? I don't know. But he's still here. Oh yeah, there he is. Worked with both of them extensively in Kenya. Jeff, I worked with him extensively in Uganda. And Colin as well. I don't know if he's still here. Colin was here though, and the guy who I said moved from Uganda to Kenya, right? So, and other guys in other countries, Nigeria, Okin, we collaborated, right? Because he has his own thing with Easy Sats. So, myself, we collaborated because she has her own thing with Bitcoin Dada as well. So, and I want to collaborate a lot with a lot of people, but then going back to being a one-man team for such a long time, the thing is, I wanted to work on my own thing ever since I started working. Right? The first thought was, okay, I'm not here to work for too long. I'm here to learn what I need to learn and bounce. This was my first job, right? And then I want to start my own company. I want to start my own startup specifically, and that is how I got into computer science because the high school I went to taught me electrical technology, so I could have become an electrical engineer, right? So that was my natural selection after high school. Then I went to a career expo, and the engineering table was crowded because, you know, it's engineering, right? And then the computer science table, the computer science table was empty, and it has two nerds sitting there. They looked like nerds too, and I was like, okay, let me hear what these guys have to say. And they were like, my question was, if I study computer science, what can I do? And they were like, you can start companies like Facebook. And I was like, oh shit, for real? You don't have to say any more. Just tell me how I switched my application from electrical engineering to computer science. And the thinking is, in electrical engineering, for you to start a company, you have to first work under somebody else. After a number of years, become a professional engineer, so on and so forth. All I need is a laptop and an internet connection, right? From anywhere in the world, right? And that, effectively all I've ever had. In my life, I always have a laptop and I always have an internet connection, right? Wherever I go. So then I was working at the CSIR, then I quit because I was like, these people are not paying us well. They were paying us relatively well to South African salaries, but not internationally. Then I went to work at AWS in Cape Town, right? And they paid us very well, right? And that is the reason why I became a whole coiner.
So hold on, just quickly to interject this. So what you're saying is, you didn't even plan to go into computers. It was by mistake because the other one was just too full and you were like, hey, what you guys got for me?
Exactly.
So like how Bitcoin came about for most people, it was something that you fell into.
Yes. Right.
That's pretty crazy. And you coded the logo. This is wild.
So then, to continue the story, right, Machankura is how I ended up not being a whole coiner anymore. Right? If you don't know what a whole coiner is, there's this vision of accumulating enough Bitcoin.
So you invested in yourself and your vision with something that you knew was beyond valuable, right? And you took a chance on yourself with it. You didn't hire other people to do it. You said, okay, I'm going to invest in myself to create this vision.
Yeah, so technically not even myself, right? So back to the Godfather conversation. If you have digital skills, try to get a job remotely, but also make sure that they pay you what they would have paid the guys that work the same thing.
Very important right there.
What is required is somebody to say, my decision is we're going to start that shit, right? And no matter what you say, no matter what you think, we're going to do it. And the reason why I started is because I'm young enough to crash and burn and start again, right? So even if Machankura one day something happens and it doesn't work out, I'm still young enough that I could, just start over, right?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. So Africa is full of very young people, right? So there's no reason for us to be tied to whatever careers we are currently doing. Like, if you fail, just get up and continue, right? That's how.
Let me actually add on to that.
We have a few people people in the space who wanted to say hi. Brother and say, okay, turn to the side. Yeah. And you see that? Okay, so please make sure you tag us, you take a photo and tag Felix because this was nicely done. That's beautiful. So say hi to us and what you do.
Alright. So I'm Felix, founder of the Co. I do Bitcoin education, but apart from that, entrepreneurship in me, I do this dressing Bitcoin. So I think most of you can see that I've done this. So that is what I do basically, but above all, I think I have to say this. The highest form of understanding Bitcoin is understanding it to the point of innovation. So I want to shout out for KG for what you've done. Marcel, what you're doing. Thank you so much. And then organizing this. For those who are still trying to understand Bitcoin, for those who are not yet sure, Bitcoin is the most certain thing in the uncertain world, right?
Hi everyone. I'm Gwantai Kaburima, but I go by Master Gwantai. I'm very, very happy to be here and among fellow Bitcoiners. Marcel, you have done a great job by hosting this event. It's very, very well done. I'm privileged to have met people who have been talking online. Like man like Wex doing songs about Bitcoin projects, like Okin really going out of his way to educate us technically for us to learn and grow in the space. Obviously not forgetting my gorilla brother from Uganda. So for me, I'm very, very privileged to even know KG and having even Zoom calls and like other calls with him is not the same as just like meeting in person and like spending some time together so that we can know each other better. So I personally encourage everyone here, if you are new to the Bitcoin space or you just want to learn, Bitcoiners are very open. You can ask anything that you want. They'll educate you, you'll be given different resources which you want, and you will find value in that. So for me, as Master Gwantai, keep it Bitcoin only. Thank you very much.
Gwantai forgot to tell you, by the way, he's your top favorite Maxi. How can you forget?
Okay. For me, I do on the education side of things.
Hapa ni kazi tu.
Yeah, my mantra is Team Hapa ni kazi tu, because I very much believe in consistency. So learning day by day, improving day by day. So I went daily. Yeah, I through Bitcoin journey, I started a video series of Ask Master Gwantai and Master Gwantai Bitcoin Me. So for me, I really got out of my comfort zone because sitcom to TikToks. But like the journey has been amazing because like people are getting value out of it. Like me getting even, like for me thinking even getting 50 views was a big thing to me, but to get those views and they encourage you, and sometimes the algorithm is not so good for you at the same time. But yeah, I do it consistently, Monday to Friday, 2 videos on the daily.
So I'm the one who has been making a lot of Bitcoiners in Nairobi, telling them we need to get fit. And well, there's also even a group that has been formed. It's called Fitness for Sats.
Yes.
And also we have a group that is called Bitcoin Run Africa. So we're running that to Bitcoin Nomads. The reason we do that is because for a couple of years I've been doing a lot of adventures, especially to communities in Samburu, Turkana, and all those areas, and talking to them about Bitcoin. And many times that when you get there, we don't have a very good solution for them because most of them use feature phones. And actually today is a very great day that we launched in Machankura in Kenya. And we have a solution for such people right now, right here. So congrats to the Machankura team for what they're doing, and we will for sure spread the word to those communities when we get there. But I also want to invite like the Bitcoin community within Nairobi to also join us when we are doing these road trips or these adventures. We doing hiking, camping, and all that. But when we get to those areas, of course, we have to somehow educate those people on why Bitcoin or just the basics of money. And that's all we want to do. And actually right now I'm leaving, I'm doing a road trip, driving all the way to Mombasa this evening.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. My story is for 2 minutes. While seated during the last graduation that Bitcoin Dada was having, I sat there and asked myself, so what am I doing in the Bitcoin space? That night, honestly, I couldn't sleep. And that's where Satoshi By Me started from. Satoshi By Me is an education platform that I'm building that is based on the Bitcoin diploma from El Salvador. This is the first official time I'm talking about it here because I think this is the best platform to actually start it at. So what we will be doing is I'm preparing the 10-week program currently, and thank you to KG for believing in us and being one of our first sponsors. And with that 10-week course, we'll actually be able to take people from what is money, what is fiat, what is Bitcoin, Bitcoin wallets, UTXOs and mempools, all the way until they do their Bitcoin thesis. So additionally, what we've done is gotten that Bitcoin diploma and gotten into a hard copy. Anyone who needs it, just pay the printer and you're able to get that into your hands. I think for me, one of the things that is really important is, let me just try and explain all the developers' words to the people who are unable to understand. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm here representing Kotani. You've heard our famous former speakers talking about APIs. So Kotani builds APIs for developers. If you're developers here, you can use that to move from blockchain activity to get fiat in local currencies. So we have compatibility with most EVM chains, including other non-EVM chains. This is Stellar. If that's new news to you, don't worry. But we also added support for Lightning Network, and we're actually supposed to be working together with Machankura, so we can build solutions beyond the feature phone. But actually how we started is also started with USSD code. Glad to see you guys here, and I cherish meetups because that's how I got into the space. Thanks to that, I became a co-founder. So meetups hold a lot of value, and you should pursue this technology through meetups and make connections as much as you can. Thank you.
So help me in welcoming Marcel so she can gift her students their certificates.
We have volunteer trainers. We've had Orchid doing the Lightning Network. We've had Braindon also chipping in. We also had KG with the third, was it the third or the second cohort? Right? The second cohort. So I'm really proud of these guys. It's not easy to actually sit down every Tuesdays and Thursday, learn about technical terms, foreign concept, right? And you're not even sure what it is, you know? And the journey has been interesting. We have our own challenges, but at the end of the day, I'm so proud of you guys, having done the exams, attending the classes, and now you're here. And again, KG, thank you so much for being one of the people who actually believed in Bitcoin Dada. Where's cohort 1? just a short story. So when I did the first cohort, actually, I was actually doing it, let me say, quote unquote, out of my own garage, right? I was just doing it like something for the community. I did not have the funds to support it. I was actually doing my other business. So when we got to the graduation, first graduation, no funds, no website, nothing, right? And within the Bitcoin community, it's all about proof of work. Bitcoiners, you know that. So I'm still very new, and Bitcoiners are still like, female teaching who? So no one is going to donate anything to you, right? So we were having the first graduation. I was telling the first cohort, like, I don't even know if this thing is going to work, and they kept on supporting me. And somebody online actually introduced me to KG, and KG was like, yo, let's get on a call. So you get on a call, how technical he is, you know, and these techie guys assume everybody is. You know, so you get in on a call, and he's grilling me on what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, fine, what do you need? And I'm like, okay, we're having the graduation, I have no funds. He's like, okay, fine, we'll do this half and half. So he sends me half. This is a total stranger. First time we are talking, right? The other thing was the website. We didn't have our website. Whether we've upgraded our website. Oh, yeah! So the website, he was like, okay, so you need our website. And he was like, so we're going to do the website. So because he's a dev, right? He's a designer and all that. I was like, he's going to do it for me. The graduation was like 1 week too. So he said, I'm going to help you with the funding and also the website. So 3 days to the graduation, I got on a call with him, and he asked me, where's the website? I'm like, yo, but you said you're going to help me. Like in my mind, I'm like, he's like, no, you need to do it. It's so easy, right? 3 days too. I have no idea. I've never done any dev job. I've never been in a class where web developers, whatever. Literally, no idea. So I was like, I was totally like thrown off. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this thing. So we did the graduation, and then on Monday, I sit down and think to myself, why did KG just push me into the sea? He must have seen something. He must have known something, right? It took me 4 hours to create our first website. 4 hours, because I was like, KG would not have told me to do it by myself if he didn't see something or he didn't believe in me, right? So for that, KG, thank you so much. And within that time, he did not even have the funds, I remember. He was actually doing it from the BTC. From the whole coin. From the whole coin. He was actually donating from the whole coin. So thank you so much. Cohort 1. Yeah. So the graduation, the certificates. Yeah, so we do have exams. We do have exams and everything. Are they in? Yeah. They're not in order, right? So I'm just going to try and remember the top 3. Yeah. We have Kenyan, South Africa, Kenya. Yes. Okay. Oh, by the way, we have actually expanded to other countries. Are you sure? Okay, so if for now we can do the random join. So we are just going to call the names and hand out the certificate. So the first one we have Juliana Odundo.
She got her own keys, she got her own keys, she got her own keys. Where my Bitcoin Dada? 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 She got her own keys, she got her own keys. She got a new trade one on blockstream. Takes a Bitcoin off exchanges and
we do have next Brittany. I met Brittany at an event, financial education in Nairobi University, and she decided, I want to be part of the next, and I'm so proud of her.
She got her own keys, she got her own keys, she got her own keys. She got her own keys. Yo, where my Bitcoin Dada at? 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 Where my Bitcoin Dada at?
As I talk, and they're getting the Bitcoin diploma book after lessons, right? The ones that
The learning never ends.
Yeah, it never ends, right? So we have Virginia. Virginia, why you remove? Has been trying to keep us fit. She's a personal trainer, by the way.
And she accepts Bitcoin.
We have Lavine. So,
She run and second and her playlist on Piglet. On Saturday, she's on Monday game. She knows Bitcoin and energy.
Doris is that?
Own keys, she got her own keys, man. Where my Bitcoin Dada's at? Where my Bitcoin Dada's at?
We have Catherine. Oh, this is Catherine.
What you say, Mrs. Catherine?
Own keys, she got her own keys. She got her own keys. Yo, where my Bitcoin Dada's at? 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 She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got that new jade boy.
Nema. So now we have, we have the top three. Well, actually top four because the second one is in South Africa. Sibeko Zimfiwe.
You can give me a certificate.
She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got her own keys.
So we have Aisha Loco.
Picks up Bitcoin off exchanges under self-custody. She runs her own, providing liquidity.
So I'm just going to throw this out there for Bitcoiners in the house. Top three. Can we get some sats for my top three? Yeah! Are we pledging? 10 each.
10, I'm giving 10 each.
From man like Wax, 10 each.
10,000.
10,000 sats. It's going to match man like website. So you have 2010, 50,000 sats. Any other Bitcoin in the house? From the one and only Lord. Each blood. Blood also banana. Can I be a student? Can I be a student? Can I graduate again? No. So that's 70,000 sats. Any other Bitcoin in the house feeling? Okay. Truly appreciate. Mother, you guys, 10% tax. Okay, now we have Joy. Joy. Oh.
keys. She got a new J1 on Block Street. It's a Bitcoin off exchanges under self-custody. She runs her own provider.
Okay, so okay. Mwenye hii gari bana. Wacha Kiswahili William.
Kenya.
KCP 542U. Uko wapi? Ama umekonfusiwa na warembo? Uko wapi? KCP 542U.
People inside drinking or something.
Don't make somebody miss their flight, please.
Okay. So Sharon, our top student, Sharon Murugi.
Custody. She runs her own providing liquidity. Go to the channel to me just a couple $100,000.
Awesome. Truly amazing. Really happy. I've been teaching these ladies. It's not easy, but then again, it's a lot of fun, and we also get to learn. That's it. Okay, so that's the last.
Okay, so I'd like to say one thing. That,
You missed the
Oh yeah.
How much you pledging? I thought you were big, no?
So anyone else with some stats they would like to give to the top 3 Bitcoin Dadas for the year? 20K? So yeah, the pot will stay open for the rest of the night, so please drink a lot of alcohol. But one thing I wanted to say is that congratulations on the magnificent work you're doing, right? And continue in the stride that you are, in the path that you've set yourself, right? And in this room, right, I see at least 21 whole coiners within the next 5 years. So let's make sure that happens, right? And if it can be more than 21 whole coiners, even better. Cool.
Awesome. So because she said apparently, but I'm not that old. Because these are my girls and they also put effort in attending these classes. So from Bitcoin Dada to them, 20,000 sats each. They do a like, yeah, they'll do a like. Right? Anyway, so because of time, please make sure you have your wallets ready. We want to do the launch. That is why we are here. Again, thank you so much, Machankura, for the support. So we're just going to do the launch. We have something dramatic.
She got her own keys. 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 Where my Bitcoin Dada is at? 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 She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got a new J1 on Block Street. It's a Bitcoin of exchanges and the self-custody. She runs her own, providing liquidity. Open the channel to me. Just like the 400,000 cents. For the days and the community. see, now she got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got her own keys. Yeah, she got her own keys. 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 Now where my Bitcoin Dada is at? 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 She got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got and second and who you be on the playlist on replay. Profile observing. She's on gun the game. She knows Bitcoin is energy and she ain't never wasting that. Yeah, I know she likes to stack. And she helps her sisters out. And she got a hopper, a facilitator, Bitcoin educator. You know what Bitcoin did announce the time to celebrate. She got her own keys. She got her own keys, man. Where my Bitcoin Dada is at? Where my Bitcoin Dada is at?
What's up, everyone? Wow. No, I can't. My tongue will fall on the floor if I do this. Hi, I'm Alec Quakes. I'm from Tanzania, via the UK, then back to Tanzania again. I'm happy to be here. That song, I had no idea it would be this. Like I said, a lot of technical things were said here, and if you're like me, it kind of goes over your head. And I was a little bit confused on how I can contribute to this space. And I really, really wanted to. Like, Bitcoin just is so fun, and I just wanted to contribute. And I was a little bit jelly, you know, and I was a little bit envious, like, do I have to be a dev? Do I have to be a developer? And lo and behold, I saw Oaken online one day, and he reminded me of a famous rapper. And I just picked that rapper's song, and I rapped about Bitcoin that I knew. And I just put it in a song, because music is my background. And then that kind of gained some momentum. And then, lo and behold, I found my place in the community where, for instance, I would sit and listen to them talk, and maybe 80% of it goes over my head, but, you know, I'll get a little bit, and I'll learn a little bit more. And by kind of making it into a song and making it fun, it kind of helped people like me kind of embrace Bitcoin. So this is our song. He made the beat. I don't think he had any idea it was gonna be this, right? And he's like, oh, he just said it to me one day. Yeah, we're gonna run the applause, man. Big round of applause. Come on, guys. Don't hold back. Throw some stats. You get stats. You get stats. I'm joking. Everybody gets stats. Okay, my wallet's empty now.
To those who do not know, Colin is the one who designed this pose, right? So where's Colin? Oh, he's outside, but yeah. So Colin is the one who designed the Machankura emulator on the website. So mad props to him, right? And yeah, much appreciation.
Next we have Nolly. That's not the best part. A triple threat. So he says, in code we trust, for BTC we build. So he says, eat, sleep, Bitcoin repeats. Developers build their future, Bitcoin secures it.
Amazing. Who made this?
Hey, Brandon, please start talking about Bitcoin. Oh, it was the Genesis. Oh! And then we also got him like a flask when he's traveling and all.
His laptop somewhere.
Yeah. So it has his brand. Okay, so we do have this. We're going to have this on our site, on our store. We're selling this. We also selling the hoodies, church bags for the ladies. I know you have that. T-shirts, etc, etc. All the prices will be there. And the other thing I would like to appreciate Sabina, our content creator. She has been the brains behind all our social media platforms. And also, she came up with all this. So this is our work.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our event. Welcome to
I need more money, man. Rodanga Spani. Direngezolera zobikera na zipani. Nande ndile na mayambudzi ndidla chopani. Give me my money, man. Songo tatakani. Tele mali yam sebenzela ngani yam. Direngezododza pina bata yami MC yami bakaisi bakaiwai bakahino balaba mali yami no. Diko toda cash no chipodero na dash. Chiko toda title cause I'm feeling so blessed. Ninga I'm cash. Chiko toda mess. Kanabo murito mutanga ndidoni cash. Chiwo ninga case. Ninga fura case. And then nanga kwata nga nichovanga my face. Need the face to face.